This is the component 1 Holy Cross mock, and it's mock number 3. Question 1. This is all about ATP, and it says, using the structure of ATP, explain what is meant by the phrase energy currency. And what it's really wanting you to come up with here is, well, currency, it's like if you work you get paid, and then you can spend that money on something else, so you get paid and you spend, and that's the sort of idea of currency there. But it does say using this structure, so we need to give the structure. And if I just kind of draw it out, more like that, and base, and then we've got 3 phosphates. There we are, that'll do. So here we've got our base, here's our sugar, and here's our phosphates there. So any description of that, or a label diagram of that, will give the structure. Then we've got our classic equation, ATP going to ADP plus inorganic phosphate, and we're going to say that releases energy, so that's like being paid. And the other way around is the opposite, and they're going to give us a mark for that as well. So ADP, so adenosine diphosphate, plus our phosphate, inorganic phosphate, will go to ATP, and that requires energy. So yeah, exactly the other way around. This is reversible. And transfers our energy in that top, so the transfer of energy can be to sort of any reaction, or anywhere where it's needed in kind of small packets. So this transfers energy to reactions in small packets, or words like that, or you might have 30.6 kilojoules, so on. So a little bit tricky for some of that. More easier is give two examples of ATP. So for example, things that you know about, you've done about active transport, and you've done about nerve impulses, or you might have zoomed in on the actual job of ATP there. And down here we are looking into this process here, which is making ATP, which is requiring the energy. It says this takes place in both respiration and photosynthesis. So we make ATP. Think about respiration, where that's made, and the clue there is a chain of electron carriers, so electrons going in, electrons going out. So the electron transport chain is to do with oxidative phosphorylation in respiration. So think about in respiration, what goes into oxidative phosphorylation, and where do the electrons and hydrogens go? So in respiration, those come from NAD, so on reduced NAD. So reduced NAD, or you might have said possibly reduced FAD, or you might have just said it's they're on hydrogen, but reduced NAD or NADH would be best there. Where are they going to? Well, they're going to be accepted by the final electron acceptor, which is oxygen, and then get converted into water. Then you've got to think of this process in photosynthesis. Where are the electron transport chains and chemiosmosis and that sort of thing going on in photosynthesis? Well, it's in kind of cyclic and non-cyclic phosphorylation. The electron will come from one of the photosystems. So, for example, you have a photosystem, then you'll have a diagram with the electron being put into a higher energy level, then dropping back through ATPase and so on, and chemiosmosis process. So that will come from chlorophyll or the photosystems, or you might have named those. And where do they go? Well, they will drop back down either in cyclic photophosphorylation, where they'll just go back into the photosystem, or they'll actually go off onto and join the other part of hydrogen, the hydrogen ion, and become reduced NADP. So it might be the photosystem again, or if that was cyclic, but if it was non-cycling and disappearing off, then that would be to NADP. So look at your diagrams in your books and your notes, and you'll find those. And then as the electron is transferred along the electron transport chain, energy is made available for ATP formation. And this, 4 marks just talk about chemiosmosis and so on. So we can say the electron fuels the proton pump. Then what happens to these protons? So H plus pumped across a membrane, so it could be the inner mitochondrial membrane, or it could be the thylakoid membrane, into an intermembrane space. Now we've got a concentration gradient that these hydrogen ions or protons can flow down. So H plus or protons can diffuse down a electrochemical gradient or concentration gradient. I want to call it electrochemical gradient, and then we are producing ATP, so these go through ATP synthetase. We'll mention the process. This is called chemiosmosis, and that will do for your 4 marks. The only thing possibly we could have mentioned as well is that these protons can only go through ATP synthetase because the membrane isn't actually permeable to these protons. But you should have got your 4 marks from there.